brace yourself, because we're going to drop more points. I think City are going to drop more points. This isn't going to be a league title that's won on 97, 98.
It's like an FA Cup final.
100%.
And it is like blood, guts, thunder.
They will want to do whatever it takes. If the shoe was on the other foot,
same thing.
They will do whatever it takes to stop us from taking maximum points from this game.
But they've got to trust each other. They've got to look around and go, we're going to be okay.
Hello, I'm Nick Bright and welcome to Inside Gooners, bringing you the latest news and reaction on the mighty Arsenal. And joining me this week is former Arsenal winger Perry Groves and broadcaster James Bayliss. And I'm delighted to say this show is sponsored by BetMGM. Download the app or visit betmgm.co.uk, 18 plus, gambleaware.org. Please gamble responsibly. Right then, boys, the FA Cup, the magic of the cup, it would seem, and it was magic for 27 minutes anyway for Arsenal. 4 goals in 27 minutes, Perry.
It weren't magic for Wigan, to be fair, was it? The thing is, it was a good time to play Wigan. They weren't in particularly good form, and I think they'd lost 5 out of previous 6, obviously interim manager with like Glenn Whelan. And if you'd have said to Mikel Arteta, with the change that he made, how would you want a team to play against you? You'd have said, oh, couldn't it play like Wigan played in that first half an hour, because they went for that, like the back 5, but normally when you play like a 5-4-1, you actually defend on the edge of your 18-yard box. They weren't. They were defending probably 10, 15 yards in front of the 18 further up, and then that enabled us. They weren't putting pressure on the ball. They sort of wanted to press, but Taylor was up front his own, and then that gave Eze, we'll talk about him in a minute obviously, and Bukayo Saka miles more room than they've ever been sort of allowed when they're playing in Premier League games. So it worked out really well. 4-0 up, and then I'm just watching it and going, all right, I knew that they'd calm themselves down a bit, because players play, you don't want to get injured. That is, it's as simple as that. Game's done, don't get injured, and then just move on.
I guess the only downside is that, because of the way Wigan played, like you said, with that high line, which, when you're languishing at the bottom of League One, is a very dangerous game to play against this Arsenal side. The only downside is Premier League teams have probably looked at that and gone, right, well, we're never, ever, ever going to do that now, and we're going to continue the lowest of lowest blocks. Yeah. It was a real shame.
I think they knew that anyway, too.
Yeah.
That's what we've struggled against, teams that have been really stubborn and difficult to break down, and I don't know how much Arsenal really want to fully commit to throwing everything going forward, because also there's a job to do defensively. Teams now to hurt you the other way. So it was refreshing having a game where it's wrapped up in 30 minutes, and like you said, no need to overexert yourselves at that point. Already lost Calafiori in the warm-up, so job done, 4-0, nice win.
Do you know what it was? When he set them out, like they sort of, it was like the mid-block, they call it now, don't they? And then you thought, but in the play, you could tell the Wigan players, so it was Moxon and Weir playing, they're like, no, we don't really want to go and press, because we know if we go and press, they're going to play around us. So they really were caught sort of in between. And you saw it with Eze's pass for Madueke's goal, which is like, there's only so many players that can see that pass, which he did. But then all Arsenal fans are looking at going, come on, Richie, we want you to play. That's how we want you to play free. We want you to release yourself.
And it was so nice for him to do that after, what was a tricky game for him midweek at Brentford. Do you know what I mean? Coming off after 45 minutes, that's never going to be nice. And people have been asking for him to step up. And he was playing slightly deeper than what he normally does, because I think he was playing almost like the not the Zubimendi role, but like just ahead of that, because you had Norgard obviously doing that. But he looked really good.
Yeah, and what's been a surprising feature of Eze this year is that pass we've seen, twice in that game, but against Bayern Munich, the third Martinelli goal comes from a ball over the top from deep, and the equaliser against Man City is another ball from deep from Eze. It's more, without comparing the two players, it's more a Fabregas type pass than like a Ozil in the pockets type. And I thought we were going to get more of Eze, in the last line, sort of getting the ball on the edge of the penalty area, making things happen. But a lot of his better moments of magic have come from deeper. So I just wonder whether that's something we might see more in future with Arteta.
I thought the rotation was good though, with Jesus and obviously Bukayo Saka playing in that more central role as well with Eze. So their rotation was really good. All I want Eze to do is, the 2 brilliant passes that he had, obviously, for like Madueke's goal and Martinelli's goal, I want him to smile and have a big bit. I want him to have that, because you can see, like when it panned over to him, I think it was from him, it looked like more of relief. It was more like, right, yeah, I know, that's what I can do. I can do it. And you think, I want you to have that big beaming smile. You know when he walked out when they announced him?
Yeah.
I want him to have that big beaming smile on his face to go, right, this is me. I'm going to express himself. It comes, a little bit from Arteta as well, where Arteta wants to control every aspect of the game. So maybe we'll talk about the Brentford game in a minute as well. You just got to release the hounds a little bit. Because I'd rather, he gave the ball away a couple of times trying to make other through passes. I'd rather he gave the ball away trying to make those passes which he sees, like being imaginative, than give the ball away or not do anything by just having a little sort of dribble around and a little swivel and then playing it sideways. You know what I mean? I'd rather he gave it a ball away looking forwards.
Yeah.
James, I wanted to ask you about the starting lineup because obviously Miles Lewis-Skelly was meant to play in midfield and a lot of people were excited about that. They've wanted to see it for a long time. Calafiori gets injured in the warm-up, so it changes things. Saka comes in. He plays in the 10. So what did you make of the starting lineup? And I guess the disappointment from some fans that they didn't get to see Miles Lewis-Skelly in midfield.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, it's a shame for Calafiori because he's such an important player for us to pick up another injury. I mean, I think that's in the 6th, 7th, 8th he's had since he's arrived at Arsenal, which is a shame for him. But okay, Arteta had a few solutions. You can bring Nketiah in. I don't think Nketiah's played too much football. That starting him would have been strange. You've then got, Rice, Zubimendi. They could have come in, albeit I understand resting them. So going for Saka was incredibly intentional because when you do that, you're moving Lewis-Skelly out of position. You're moving Eze probably from the right of central midfield to the left of central midfield. So it was a very kind of deliberate big tweak from Arteta. But he said he wanted to try something different. He said it's something they think they could do more of. And I thought he looked great. I mean, we saw a little bit of Saka in central midfield in 2020, very early days of Arteta. We haven't really seen it since. In fact, even when he's on the right, we rarely see him able to just sit inside a little bit and do maybe where Mo Salah might be a lot of the time or has been in his Liverpool career. We see him soft on the touchline. I enjoyed watching him getting space where, because Madueke is drawing the fullback to him, so often Saka was able to just make the underlap or receive it, under pressure, but he can go different ways. He's not kind of bogged down by the touchline. You saw a little bit more inventiveness to play. You saw him just look a bit freer. It was really good to see. I really enjoyed it, and I hope it's something Arteta considers for the rest of the season.
Do you know what I think it was? He can't be doubled up on when he's playing in there. You can't go to, like, when he's playing out wide, he's always doubled up on. And what we did earlier in the season when, like, Timber was playing and when in his race it had Big Ben White as well, then they was able to negate that by going on the underlap and overlap. So he's playing in there freer. If you was Miles Lewis-Skelly, right, you'd have been absolutely devastated. You was playing left because that's where he wants to play in midfield. Yeah. And he knows he's probably 4th choice left back now. Do you know what I mean? So he's like, if I can go in there and I can prove that I can play in one of those inside forward positions, whether it's right or left, that gives me more chance of getting into the team. And he went and played in there anyway because we had so much of possession. Yeah. So he went and played with a double pivot with like Norgard. But there was a lot of times as well, which I really liked, is when Wigan set their 5-4-1 up, Saka and Eze went and stood in between the lines. Do you know what I mean? So then the midfield 4 are looking over their shoulders thinking, who do I go and pick up? Or does one of the centre-halves come and pick them up? So as Arteta said, and what it does is it gives doubt in your opposition's mind because when they see the team sheet now, you could guarantee that Saka will be playing on the right. So now you can play Madueke and Saka in the same 11, which is just even more options, which is good.
Does it make you wonder about the future? Because we've got Waneri, Ødegaard, Dalman, they all play in the areas that Saka and Madueke have been playing. All slightly different, but essentially they want to be in that either right pocket or right touchline. I wonder if there's a little glimpse of the future, a little bit. How do you get them all into one team? Well, because the likes of Saka and Waneri can be played centrally. Dalman looks unbelievable talent, even at 15, 16, the way he can beat players. We know Madueke is incredibly explosive, very clever footballer on the ball. I just wonder whether that's the way you fit them all in future.
The thing is, though, you won't have to fit them all in because there'll be a few that will be gone at the end of the season. Yeah. The squad is that strong. It's that strong, and there'll be new faces that come in. So there'll be a few that will be surplus to requirements.
I don't want to lose any of them, though.
Yeah,
but they'll want to go and play.
Yeah, you're right.
You mentioned Waneri, right? If you were saying about these inside where he wants to play, and you've got Eze, you've got Ødegaard, then Max Dalman, who is unbelievable, trust me, like for his age. So then Waneri, quite right, he'll be thinking, I want to go and play. When I said on one of our podcasts that I wouldn't let him go because we need as many bodies as possible. And it's easy, hindsight is easy off, but I did actually say at the time that you should have said, I'm really sorry, I know you want to go and play, but you ain't going to Marseille because there's every chance we could need you. Yeah. So that now, obviously, Mourinho getting injured as well. Not saying the squad is looking, a little bit shallow, but
you
still need as many bodies as you can when
No,
you're still in all 4 competitions.
I completely agree with you. I didn't love the loan. Havertz, Marino, his injury record recently. Marino, we couldn't have foreseen that. Odegaard, so I'm with you on that. Yeah.
And speaking of injuries, actually, Calafiori getting injured in the warm-up, does that worry you at all, James? I know at the back we've got a lot of cover.
Don't go
back, but yeah,
second time, don't go on. I'll tell you what, just sit yourself, run a bath, sit yourself in a bath, do a few hamstring stretches, and then go out.
Isn't that what Wrighty used to do?
Yeah,
I saw
Dave O'Leary.
Yeah, right.
Just like run a bath, hot bath, with their boots on, read the programme, go out, do a few little runs, and then away you go.
I think it is a worry, though, Calafiori getting injured, because I think he gives us something different when he plays. He's when in attack, I think Calafiori gives us something different, and to lose that when we're, I don't want to say struggling for goals off the back of a 4-0 win, but in the Premier League, struggling for goals, it's a bit of a blow.
Well, let's hope that it's Arsenal being extremely careful.
Yeah.
I always ask myself, if they're a Champions League final next week, would he be fit? And with absolutely no knowledge at all, I'd say probably. No. Yeah, because it's the big game. And I imagine there's a degree of we're playing so much football, any small thing, we're not going to take chances. And I'm okay with that. But in terms of losing him, when he should have played this game, he wasn't able to. I think it's a real shame, because the Premier League teams are so organised defensively. It's your unpredictable players like a Calafiori that can open a game up with his underlaps and his combinations with Trossard. They've got a good thing going. The more we disrupt combinations like that, you lose something in terms of fluidity and invention in the final third. So weirdly, Nketiah is a very good defender. Lewis Skelly showed what he can do at the Bernabeu last season as well. So I think we're okay defensively. But I think we lose something going forward with Calafiori. I think that's the big miss.
You know what it is? From now to the end of the season, in the big games, you want to have your settled back four. Yeah. You want it to be Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori. That's what you want. And I think, as you said, I think they erred on the side of caution. I don't think there was anything particularly serious. But the one thing that they do in this days of everybody knows what's going on, there's always a mole in the camp. You very rarely get leaked that an Arsenal player is injured or missing. Against, was it Brentford when Saliba? Missing. No one knew. Yeah. No one, everyone went, hold on a minute, Saliba's... Normally, the press are all over it, the media all over it. Saliba's picked up a bit of injury in training. So I think Arteta's got such a controlled grip of saying to everybody, you don't say anything to anybody. I don't even care. You don't tell your agent. You don't tell anybody what's going on. Do you know what I mean? And that gives you a bit of advantage as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've done some work at the club, and I know, Perry, you work at the club as well, and it's like...
No one knows.
Yeah, you just don't hear anything. No. Ever since Arteta's come in, because I remember, when Wenger was there, in the press conference, he would do, injury updates, wouldn't he? And then I think on the website, they would put out how long people are expected
to be.
You're
right.
That's all gone since Arteta's come in, because he wants to keep everything close to his chest.
I know people who are at the training ground every day, and they won't tell me. I still ask him, and they go, no, everything's fine. Yeah, he's right, no problem. I used to get an idea in the old system we used to get changed. It was always goalkeeper, back four, midfield, strikers, and subs. So going around in the horseshoe shape. Yeah. Arteta changed that 2 years ago, which I think at the time I didn't like, but it's good because no one knows who's playing. He does it now just purely numerical. So it doesn't matter if you're in the starting 11 or on the bench. You just get changed where your number tells you. Mm-hmm. So when I used to go and have a little, think I've got a little insight or whatever, I used to think, oh no, it's right, can't get any insight now.
It's all gone. It's
gone. Arteta being again, changing it again.
FPL managers are the ones who are the most fuming about all of this, when Saliba's not in the lineup. You mentioned Norgard, Perry, actually, and he's not had many chances, I think it's fair to say, so far this season. But every time he's been called upon, he steps up. And I'm open for discussion on this, but I think this was his best game in an Arsenal shirt.
Yeah, but I think he is, and this is meant as a big compliment, he's efficient. And he'd been efficient in his other games. And what was he, 10 million quid? I think that sort of signing, because full well, he's got the physicality, but I think as well, he's one of those players that reads the game really well. But as we saw, he has a bit of vision. I think he's added that. At Brentford, where he's probably used to defending a lot more than what he does when he comes to us. Now he's got that bit of freedom playing in the defensive midfield row, where we saw the little chip for obviously Jesus' goal, where he's got that, and a couple of times he pinged it into Jesus' feet, or he pinged it into Saka, or in to Madueke, and you go, right, yeah, you've got that to your game as well. So I thought that was his best game, but in the other games that he's played, he's been a 7, and you go, that's a good signing. Again, it gives you the depth in squad, doesn't it? So yeah, I think it's been brilliant.
I completely agree. Some of his passing was really impressive. I think the other games he's really stood out defensively, coming in at centre back in the Champions League. I mean, that's a big ask, and he did well. But, a Wigan side, they're going to allow you to have the ball, flex what you can do on it. And he did. He looked really good on the ball. Some of those passes, you're right, the Jesus assist, couple balls over the top to Martinelli, I think, if I'm not wrong. He just looked really comfortable. And again, I said with the same, with all due respect, he's playing his role perfectly. Basically, you're probably never going to start ahead of Zubimendi and Rice. He's good enough to, in terms of play probably most Premier League games, but though they're going to have the shirt. But when you come in, just keep it, like you said, efficient, keep it moving, make sure we don't skip a beat in that position, allow the players in front of you to thrive, be good off the ball, be disciplined. And he does it really, really well. And I think there were some quotes from him where he said, look, it's just a privilege to be here and I'm really enjoying it. And of course you want that competitive nature of everyone wants to play. I'm sure he wants to be on the pitch every minute of every day, but also just not getting too flustered by, well, I should be playing more. What's my role in the squad? Coming in, being super professional, keeping it moving. I've got a lot of time and respect for him. I think he's a really, really good player, really good squad player, and a really good pickup.
Do you know what as well? I think you can tell that Arteta trusts him.
Yeah.
That gives him confidence. When you could just see, he's not one of those ones thinking, I better not make a mistake because this is my chance. You just saw the way that and it's against Wigan, so you've got to put it in perspective, but you still have to pick the right pass, the right choice, go and get it, and have he's very good at the what ifs. What if it breaks down? Where we've got to be. There's one thing that I just want to say about the Wigan games, well, though. They kept one up from our corners, and there was a stage, the first one, no one was back. Do you know what I mean? So Kepa then said to Lewis Skelly, "You come back." But I want to see two back. I don't want to see, because they did break a couple of times, and Lewis Skelly got booked once. He booked, didn't he, for the foul on, I think it was Taylor. But we've got to be a little bit more aware of that, because Chelsea did it. Yeah, so that's why they kept three up. So I always think you should have an overload. So if they keep three up, we keep four back. Do you know what I mean? They keep one up, we keep two back. But Arteta likes to go like the 1v1s.
Yeah.
And what happens is, especially with Lewis Skelly being the last man, sometimes you get too tight and then you can get spun. So it's just be interesting to see what other teams do against us for our corners, whether they follow suit. Do you know what I mean? So we just got to be a little bit aware of that.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think it was it Shay Given who originally
said, they did it on Match of the Day on the Saturday, and then Chelsea did it in the semi-final, didn't they?
Yeah. So obviously set pieces develop as the season goes on, and we've been massively effective up until this point with set pieces. Just be interesting to see if we can maintain that. The good news is we've started finding our scoring boots, without the need to rely on set pieces, which is good. But I wanted to ask you, James, about Gabriel Martinelli, because he's got this quirky stat where he's become the first Arsenal player to score 10 plus cup goals since 94-95 when Ian Wright did it. So, he's a player who some fans not wanted to see go, but wouldn't have minded if he left in the summer.
Yeah.
But he's showing his value now, 10 plus goals across the cup competitions and Europe. That's good going.
Fair play to Gabby Martinelli, because Trossard has been probably the form attacker this year. So Martinelli's had to take his opportunities when he's come in. I think he's done it really well on the right and on the left. Yeah. Is he our top scorer in the Champions League this season? I think he is. He is giving us something off the bench. And what I was saying about Norgard, where he's sort of really professionally doing his role, Martinelli is, but also with like a more of a bite of, no, but I want to be starting every week, and I know I can be. He knows at his best he can maybe take that position off Trossard. And I hate to say this for him because it's not fair, but he's having such a great impact as, let's not call it a sub, let's call it a finisher, which Arteta, it's the word Arteta likes to use. He's coming on in games at Man City like Bayern, and then coming in the cup where we're rotating and doing a great job. He's really good in front of goal. He can score a goal with his head. He's become a threat from set pieces. He's good with both feet. I think he took his goal with his left foot against Wigan. It was a nice finish. And he's looking closer to the finisher we saw 3 years ago in 22-23 when he got the 15 league goals and none of them penalties. So I really like the player. I have this slight feeling that if we did suddenly go, well, great, the shirt's yours, then we'd see teams work him out a little bit more. And I wonder if it's the way we're using him that's benefiting him too, the rotation, the competition. I wonder what you think.
Do you know what it is? I like the fact he's starting, because definitely last season when he played on the left-hand side, he cut inside it and he was easy to read. You just cut inside on your right foot. Now you can tell they've worked on him to go on the outside, because even if you go on the outside and the defender gets a block, we still get a corner. Do you know what I mean? So everybody knows so what you have to do is put that little bit of doubt in the fullback's mind. I think especially away from home, he's more effective because the home team has to come at some stage to come and try and take the game to you, or come and try and equalise, or come and get the winner. And then he gets more space in behind. And the other thing that I thought was good against Wigan is there was a threat in behind.
Yeah.
Madueke was a threat in behind. Martinelli was a threat in behind. Then you had Saka running from deep a couple of times, because sometimes it's too formulaic, where it's very lateral, where it goes in front of other teams' back fours or back fives. So that's what it gives you. And again, it's the attitude. There's anybody's left out. They'll probably have a conversation with Arteta and go, Gaffer, look, why aren't I in? What do you want me to do more? Not, I should be in the team, it's outrageous. None of them are going to cause any problems, because they know it's a great time to be at Arsenal at the minute. I know this is squeaky bum time, don't get me wrong, because this is a time where you're judged, but they probably can feel that they're on the cusp of something pretty special. So that's why no one's going to cause any problems, because Arteta will just go, oh, really? Do one.
They all want a Premier League winners medal as well. Yeah. Let's, not beat around the bush. You know, if I was a squad player in this Arsenal side, I'd just be thinking, look, I'll step up when I can. But at the end of the day, like, if I'm going to get a Premier League winners medal, if you're, again, no disrespect, but if you're Christian Norgard, this is your one and only chance to get hold of a Premier League winners medal. You know what I mean? So you have to play the cards that are dealt, I guess. Let's talk about Christian Norgard's former team, actually, Brentford, because, we played them midweek. It feels so... Me and James, we spoke about this, didn't we? Like, it feels so fatal every time we drop any points. It was a draw. It's not the worst result in the world. Brentford, a tough place to go against a really organised, decent team that a lot of people thought were going to get relegated. But we dropped points. It's 4 points now at the top. What's your feeling after that game? And do you think there's been a bit of an overreaction?
Come on, James. Come on. Just go positive.
I'm glad it's been a few days.
All touch the mic and go positive. Come on.
I'm glad it's been a few days, because I can't pretend I wasn't really frustrated at the whole time. But honestly, and I try when I'm not talking about Arsenal, I try to switch off a little bit. But I have been thinking a lot and just sort of telling myself, look, James, in the end, the Premier League is kind of where it is at the moment. The environment of the Premier League is teams are taking points off everyone. Now, we're worried about potentially losing this title to a side that have already lost 5 games this season as well. So if City go on and do it, we obviously hope they don't. I don't think they will. But if they do, they'll have had many, many imperfections en route to doing it. So a little part of me is just trying to tell myself, this is just the nature of the league now. Brentford, it's a difficult place to go. Teams are incredibly organised. They're good off set pieces. They're really physical. We talked about the mid-block. They're difficult to break down. And Arsenal won't always have the answers. But we didn't lose. We picked up a point. I know we should be aspiring for better than that. I would like us to end the games putting more pressure on the opposition. I felt like Brentford looked more like scoring than we did. But we're competing on all 4 fronts. We are playing, I think we've already played more matches than United will play in the whole campaign. It just tells you how much football, and it's a good thing we've got the squad, but how often they're going out having to, again, hit those levels, because I'd be disappointed if we're out the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup early. So there's pressure in all these areas. And I've just sort of told myself, brace yourself, because we're going to drop more points. I think City are going to drop more points. This isn't going to be a league title that's won on 97, 98. What Klopp and Guardiola did, I don't think we'll see that for a long, long time, if ever. And, brace it. It might take 83, 84 to win it, but I think that's the nature of the league now. So I'm stomaching a little bit better, because City aren't looking any more perfect than we are.
Do you know what? If you don't play well, you make sure you take a point out of it. Yeah. I think a year ago we don't get a point out of that game.
I agree completely.
Because we'd have lost the game, because what happened, and what Brentford do brilliantly, is they want to create mayhem. Like, I think Arteta said, the washing machine, like, they want to create mayhem. They want to have that carnage, which they did. They only lost 2 games at home all season. I think Man City and Forest, I think it was as well, wasn't it? Yeah. And they've beaten Aston Villa 3 times this season. Beaten Liverpool there, beaten Man United there. The only thing that when I looked at it, I see it as a point gained, because you're still coming away from a difficult place. If we can turn it again, it's about Arteta having control, right? The way that I look at it, it's very easy as someone who's not the manager. If we turn those games into basketball games, you attack, we attack, you attack, we attack, we have better players than what they do. But I think Arteta wants total control, especially in the first half, where we had that little bit of control for the first 15, 20. I wanted to see us just go for it more. Do you know what I mean? And even when it went 1-1, just go, right, I wanted to see us play another 10 yards further up the pitch, and we go the 4-4-2 and we press when it comes like halfway line. But I wanted to see us press 10, 15 yards further up and go, right, we're going to go and try and nick it and win it off you. Now, if you play through us and you get at us, we have to trust like the centre halves and the back four, whatever. But we need to take more of a risk to maybe lose the game. And the game that stood out for me was Aston Villa, where we lost it 2-1, but we went for it. We went to try and win the game. And I know you know, we lost it. You go, I'd rather do that because you're going to end up winning more games, do you know what I mean, than drawing. So that was my only small criticism. But then if you look in the second half, Martinelli can make it 2-1, but I think Declan Rice should get his shot away a bit earlier. Then Mosquera has a brilliant like last-ditch tackle. And then Declan Rice, from setting up Martinelli, 40 seconds later, he gets back and it looks like Damsgaard's going to have a free shot, tap it in, and he just nicks it off his toe. So if you look at the whole thing, I think it was more positive and that we take a point, do you know what I mean? And you go 4 points clear.
Yeah, I guess my thing is I agree with everything you said, by the way. But my thing is I just want us to be better at finishing off side like the teams. You know, we're 1-0 up against United. We let them back in it, and then they go on to win the game. Even when we got that back to 2-2, you know, at that point it's like, let's think about just keeping it at 2-2. I know it was a wonder strike in that game that saw us lose it, but. And then in this one, 1-0 up, and then we let them back in it. And then, like you say, James, it was like we just didn't turn the screw enough in the last 15 minutes. I want to see us really we're top of the table, you know. And I know you can't do that in every single game, but I guess just I've never played the game like you, Perry, but as a fan, that's what I want to see, you know. Yeah,
but I think what it is as well is tension does creep in a little bit.
Right.
If you see how many games you see when a team is 1-0 up or 2-0 up and they're at home, and every team sits deep. Probably the only one who doesn't, you would say, is Man City, maybe. But they're vulnerable. You even see the game against Salford, where Man City, Salford could score twice, even though they went 1-0 up. You know, Salford was still in the game. They couldn't finish them off. So it's a mentality that creeps in naturally, that you try and have you hold what you have. Do you know what I mean? And as you say, when you're watching it, you're going, come on, let's put, like the Man United game, we got nervous. The Liverpool game, we got nervous. But the crowd has a big part to play, especially now in our home games. You know, with all Arsenal fans out there, if it goes where there's a period of time we could be 0-0 or 1 or whatever, and we're not in control for 10, 15 minutes, don't go quiet. Yeah. Don't get it's not moaning, it's anxiety. 100% is anxiety. But if you have 57,000 fans that go, come on, trust me, that impacts on the players. I can remember we played Man United, I don't know if it's last year or year before, Marcus Rashford scored and Man United went 1-0 up. And I was at the game, and normally when the opposition scores, there's understand me. It wasn't. Every Arsenal fan, went, come on. And it was whoa, everybody. You could see the players go, yeah. I tell you what, they're behind us here. Yeah. And you could see the players grow, and we turned it around. I think we won the game 3-1 in the end.
We equalised quickly in that.
Yeah, and it was like the energy, the positive energy. And any player, and Manny tells you it doesn't make it, trust me, it does. It makes players tense. So there has to be which there should be, a feel-good factor at the Emirates, and that's going to be a big part to play from now, trust me, till like the end of the season.
It's interesting you use the word tension there. Do you think the players are a touch nervous? And you know, when I bring this up, I'm always so aware that I've never kicked a football at their level, so who am I to sort of throw that? Because it feels like it's a psychological trait, isn't it? Like, are you nervous because of the title race and stuff? I think what worries me is, it's not for me to say, is Gabriel nervous on the pitch or not? But when he kicks the ball out for an early corner, I think whether he's nervous or not, you've sent the message to Brentford that we might be, or that you can get at us. And I just want Arsenal, I think, because I noticed, I felt this against Liverpool, against Forest as well, against Man United. Let's just be a bit tidier. Okay, if we're not going to be having loads of shots in that first half, at least make the opposition feel like they can't get the ball off you that easily, and things like that. It's little things like that that have been a bit frustrating, where I thought our technical levels dropped below our normal standard. I don't know if it's just me kind of seeing that, but I've wondered about that, whether there's a bit of tension in that.
Do you know what it is? You have to try and it is anxiety and nerves. You have to turn that into excitement. Yeah, you know what I mean, you have to get that when you play in the games, you get the feeling in your stomach, right? Yeah. But that is obviously nerves, and I don't believe any player. There's not many players that probably Cristiano Ronaldo is probably one of the ones who don't get, you know what I mean? Don't get nervous.
Yeah.
So I don't believe in, because nerves can be good, because nerves means it heightens your senses and you're more alert and ready to go. But because this group of players haven't won the Champions League or a Premier League, that's when they want it so badly, because trust me, when you win the first one, then you come into situation in games where you need to get a winner or you need to get anyone. You look around, you look at each other and you go, no, we're going to be all right here.
Yeah.
We're right. We'll get ourselves out of this.
Yeah.
But because they haven't got the history of getting themselves out of it, that's when, but they've got to trust each other. They've got to look around and go, we're going to be okay. Go back, again, I know it's the first 6-game season, go back to the Newcastle game. When Newcastle gone 1-0 up, we didn't batter an eyelid. And you end up winning. Now Gabriel gets a winner in the 92nd minute.
Yeah.
But I looked at us and the way that reacted, Odegaard was brilliant, got himself on the ball. And the way that reacted to that game, and obviously there's less pressure in the first 6 games than what there is now, but you've got to try and channel that and just go, we're going to be all right. If no one on the pitch is going to do it, we've got like 9 on the bench.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Obviously goalkeeper, 8 on the bench. Someone's going to come on and get us out of trouble. So they've got to try. One, Arteta said about enjoying it, because this is where they want to be. They want to be going to Wolves tomorrow night and winning the game and going 7 points clear. Do you know what I mean? And playing for Arsenal. So they've got to try and turn it into like embracing it, enjoying it. But it is tension. They're human beings.
Yeah. I mean, it's how I feel when I'm presenting every episode of Inside Gooners, get the nerves in the belly. You know what I mean?
Because you've got to carry the show. That's why. I've got to carry the.
Do it without you two, mate. Right, well, let's talk about Wolves then, of course, tomorrow night. James, is the Wigan game the perfect kind of blueprint of what we need to do in this game? Just obviously, forget the scoreline. 4-0 would be great in half an hour. But I just mean coming out quickly and getting a goal under our belts.
I wish we did more of that in the Premier League. So, yes, I'd love to say yes. I don't know if that's what we'll do. I think we respect everyone in the Premier League away from home. We earn the right to play, stay in it for 10, 20 minutes, get a foundation, get on the ball and then try play football. So I don't know if Arsenal and Arteta are going to go miles away from that. But yeah, I'd love to see that. I think less the intention on the ball, because we'll see what Wolves do. I'm looking more at the 11. I think that's going to be so interesting. Is he going to be tempted to keep Saka in midfield? Is Eze going to keep his place? Does he go Gyökeres or Jesus? Probably Gyökeres. What does he do with the back four? Because I think Timber looks tired. I'd love to see Ben White get a little bit more football down that side, and he's got a good thing with Saka as well. So will Saka come on the right? Although Madueke's just scored in 2 games back to back. So I think the 11 is going to be fascinating. I'd love to see us just go for it. But Wolves, for all their points tally looks really bad, they've been kind of competitive. They don't really get battered in games. They were competitive at Anfield, at the Emirates, at Old Trafford. So I have a weird feeling it could be, let's call it boring. I think it could be a little bit more boring than people are expecting, but sensible, professional, we get it done.
Do you know what it is? We're playing Wolves at the wrong time. If we'd have played them 2.5, 3 months ago, then you'd have really fancied like a 4 or 5-0. What Rob Edwards has done since he's been there, he's brought their pride back. They're actually playing for the shirt and playing for the club. And he's gotten better organised. He'll play like 5 at the back. It'll be a 5-4-1. Don't know he'll put whether he plays or Kadori up front or Ed Armstrong's come as well. But you know that they're going to defend for their lives. So being bottom of the league and obviously having the worst points total since Derby County, I think they got
something like that, yeah.
But this is going to be competitive. And again, this is where the players, it might go 20, 25 minutes without us scoring. But we've still got to be on the front foot and take risks. Yeah. And that's what you say, that's what you have. Because they're going to sit there, they're going to sit deep. But we saw, even at the Emirates, where they stayed in it, and that game got a bit nervy at the Emirates as well, like 1-0 up, where Rocadoris comes on and scores, and then we think Jesus scores, and I think Mosquera gets like a low goal. Yeah. So there's no givens in the Premier League now, and so we probably just play them at the wrong time, but we've won the last 9 on the trot in the Premier League against Wolves, so the record is really good. If you're neutral, right, every other football fan is looking at going, oh, that's right, it's going to be a walkover for Arsenal. Every Arsenal fan's going, can we just score early? Can we just score? Just score in the first 15, 20 minutes, get another one, another 5 minutes later, and then we can all just calm down. Because every goon is going to be like, again, because we realise how much is on this game. I know it's like top, and in the other league, top v bottom is a given. And I saw Wolves against Newcastle, and Newcastle went there, and actually Wolves had more determination. Newcastle stink the place out away from home, mostly. They had a desire to stop Newcastle winning the game. That's going to go up when they play against us.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to work for everything we're going to have. So there's one thing that he can't do. He can't leave Madueke out. You can't leave a player out who scores a vital goal with a brilliant header against Brentford and then scores again and plays really well against Wigan. I think Madueke will play.
Well, I was going to say, we should, I guess, talk about the 11 then. What are your kind of big shouts? We don't have to go through the full 11, but what are your big shouts? You think Madueke is going to play? So
I think he'll play. Gyökeres will play up front.
So does Saka stay in the 10?
I don't know. I don't, because he played his 45 minutes and managed his minutes, didn't he? So, he could go again. He could say, right, you're going to play with Eze and Saka as the 2 10s. Obviously, Zubimendi comes back in. Calafiori, if he's not fit, then probably Nketiah will go at left back.
But then we're running out of room for Rice, aren't we? So
Rice and Zubi have to play, and the thing is, Eze played well in that slightly deeper role, but I look at it like Eze can't stay in that role because Arteta, I'm trying to get into the mind of Arteta here, which is difficult enough as it is. Arteta will not leave Zubimendi and Rice on the bench, in my opinion. I think they play.
He flirted with the idea beginning of the season. He played Eze, Ødegaard and Rice and left Zubimendi on the bench. And then Ødegaard came off with a shoulder injury after half an hour. Zubimendi came on, played brilliantly. We scored the opening goal because of him. So I think he's tempted by it. I just think when push comes to shove, he'll go, no, I need my 2 back.
So Zubimendi will come in, Rice will be on that left side, and
maybe Eze
on the bench, and Saka on the right side.
Yeah.
Well, after his 2 worldy passes. But the thing is, we're all going like this. It's not a bad problem to have, really. It's a great. Is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Havertz is injured as well. Mourinho's obviously out for the whole season. So
there'll be an eye on Spurs as well, obviously, coming down the tracks. But
the only thing is, I must admit, obviously, you can't be thinking about Spurs. It's just tomorrow night is the biggest game of the season, and all these games now in the Premier League are all the biggest games in the season. Do you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see how what you said there about the injuries to Calafiori, because whether it was just we're not going to risk him, and he'll play against Wolves. But we ain't going to find out.
If he's on the bench for Wolves, then at least I'll think, okay, he'll be fine for Tottenham.
Yeah.
That's sort of all I need. If he's not on the bench, I'm thinking, this sounds like it's going to be another few weeks, because I think when he got injured in the warm-up for Brighton, we heard that's not a lot, end up being out a month.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's reclaimed his place since. So hopefully he's back soon. Otherwise, I'd like to see Ben White play. I really would. I think if they're going to play a back 5, we need to break...
So you're lodging Timber?
I would take Timber out, It's
that's
not
harsh.
Well, Benny came off with a knock, though, didn't he?
But I think he said
he was okay. He posted on Instagram. Timber, my respect for Timber isn't just in how good a player he is, but that he's given us these 2 seasons off the back of an ACL.
Yeah.
It's an unbelievable return from a player like that. I mean, his fitness is unbelievable. He's great on the ball. I think we are better at breaking teams down when Ben White's there. And there's very little in it. I think we're better defensively with Timber. But also, he's just played so much football. I'd just take him out of the firing line a little bit and say, look, you've got some big games. You have to do a big job at Tottenham. We're going to have a Carabao Cup final at the end of the month. So I would give Ben White the minutes, even just to get him playing a bit.
So what about Sunday?
Well, Timber.
We're gonna preview Spurs now, but just before we do, last thing I'll say on Wolves is just a stat for you. Hopefully we're going to score, and the numbers say we will. Arsenal have scored in each of their last 36 meetings with Wolves in all competitions. In competitive English football history, only Wrexham have had a longer scoring streak against an opponent, which was 49 against Darlington, and that was between 1929 and 1961.
I think it's going to be 0-0 then. I've got that written down. I thought, I'm not going to put them on there. I'm reading that one out.
Well, I've just done it. There you go. Right then, we have the big one then on Sunday. This is a big game all the time, Perry. You've been involved in these games, in fact. I know we've got Wolves and we're not getting ahead of ourselves, but will it be on the players' minds, or are they just looking at the next game? Because we know how much this means to the fans.
Yeah, no, they'll just be concentrating on tomorrow night. And then once tomorrow night's done, then it will be completely focused, relax after the game, and then on the Thursday. Again, it's a shame that Thomas Frank got the sack because I want him to get the sack after he played us. Because Igor Tudor, like coming in, his reputation is of a very dictatorial manager, and he's got a very strong character. That's obviously what Spurs need as a club, you know, because their culture sort of stinks. He'll play the 3 centre halves or like 5 at the back. So they will be far better organised and have a far better mentality than if Thomas Frank was made. Because Thomas Frank, I just think, was just too nice, like, for that club. Do you know what I mean? So he didn't have a big enough ego to sort everybody out. So I'm not worried, but it's just, you know, it will be that new manager bounce. But when you're going there, obviously they had their bellies tickled at the Emirates. Do you know what I mean? When, again, Thomas Frank played the 5 at the back. Spurs fans were caught in between because they want to not get beat, because if they draw, but they still want to see their team having a go and going to try and win it. So it'd be interesting to see how Igor Tudor goes about it, because it'll be a 5-4-1 and us trying to break them down. But it goes to a different level. The Premier League is an unbelievable level anyway, with the physicality and the pace. Trust me, these games go up to, and it's like an FA Cup final.
100%.
And it is like blood, guts, thunder, whatever. And I'm hoping that we can oppose ourselves. I think physically, obviously we're a better team because the league shows we are, but I think physically we can impose ourselves on them. So that's what I'll be looking for. A physical, it's going to be, but you have to dominate them physically.
Yeah. I mean, Champions League aside, because obviously Spurs have qualified and done quite well in the Champions League. Champions League aside, though, this really is their cup final, right? In terms of they will want to do whatever it takes. If the shoe's on the other foot,
same thing.
They will do whatever it takes to stop us from taking maximum points from this game, right? And that's the thing that worries me. Their league position, and it pains me to say this on Inside Gooners, but their league position is not a true reflection of the quality of players at the club, in my opinion, right? It's just that
I think they're worse for that, actually.
Championship.
15, 14.
I just think, like, you know, Thomas Frank wasn't the right man, like you said, Perry. I'm looking at it now, though. New manager bounce versus us at their place. I am really worried. You know, on paper, we win the game, but we know football matches aren't won on paper.
I have this horrible feeling like, are Arsenal going to win 4 North London derbies away in a row? Like, it's just little things like that in my head. That just doesn't sound right. Tottenham are going to let us win 4 times in a row, 4 seasons in a row.
And then march on to the title.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right to me. But if so, great. This is the year to sort of make history and change things. So that would be great. You know, you make a good point about Tottenham have better players in their league position. But with the injuries they've had and the 11 they've had to put out week in, week out, the players they've missed, it probably is a bit of a reflection of where that actual 11's been. I mean, Thomas Frank had problems, but I felt a bit sorry for him because, I mean, look, we're not trying to give Tottenham any credit on this show, but that's an incredible amount of injuries to deal with. Yeah. So as much as Igor Tudor, I agree, will come in, he'll make them disciplined. I think I read a stat that 8 of his 11 jobs he's taken have been mid-season. So he's kind of very much seen as the guy to come and fix things, short-term impact, all that. I'm no expert on him. I'm just regurgitating other people's knowledge. But for all that, you know, he can't just magically make players fit that aren't fit. So Maddison won't be on the pitch. Kulusevski won't be on the pitch. They need to sort of find something in their defence. They've got issues. Romero, of course, is suspended. So I'd hope that Arsenal would feel they can have a go. And if they are going to be, you know, a bank of 5 and 4, difficult to break down, well, then really take it to them. You know, make their home crowd feel frustrated. Make them feel the sense of, hold on, I appreciate we need to be competitive, but we need to have a go the other way. Keep them pinned in, play our football, and hopefully a set piece, a moment of magic, and something gets us the win. I think it'll be tough, but we've got the tools to.
You know, I'm gutted that Romero's not playing. Because every chance he got sent off. Yeah. Exactly, yeah. So, yeah. But the difference is, I said, the derbies are different, and the players know what the fans think of the. Do you know what I mean? Even the foreign players, they're told in no uncertain terms, by the way, you better get your whatever in gear here because this means like locally everything. Yeah. So, but the players weren't having Thomas Frank, and if we'd have gone 1-0 up under Thomas Frank, the stadium would, even against us, the stadium would have turned toxic because that. Spurs fans quite rightly would be annoyed of like, so they can't have got Daniel Levy now, but the owners, Enoch and Thomas Frank, it would have turned. The difference is going to be is there's going to be more of a feel-good factor. Even if we go 1-0 up, the atmosphere in the stadium won't turn. Do you know what I mean? The Spurs fans will still, because Igor Tudor's come in, and they will be engaged with the manager far more than what they were under Thomas Frank. Because he's a different sort of character. So there will be more resilience. Unfortunately for us, there will be more resilience about this side than there would have been under Thomas Frank. And the stakes for us, like the stakes are high in North London. They can't be any higher than what they are now. If you remember, was it last season before where they played Man City and they were going, are they going to throw the game because of Man City winning? And Son went through 1v1, didn't he, at 0-0. I was at the game. Trust me, they didn't have any inkling of throwing it in, because they're professional pride and they know what it means, like the games mean to fans. Their attitude was spot on, but their attitude doesn't go up another 2 or 3 levels on Sunday without a shadow of a doubt, because for theirs, they ain't winning the Champions League, right? This is their biggest game of the season to stop us having a hand and stopping us winning the title. Because we won't hear the last of it, if you know what I mean, if that happens.
I mean, I'm just looking at Man City the day before playing Newcastle at the Etihad.
8 o'clock kickoff, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, look, Newcastle not been great this season, but that's not exactly an easy game. So, they might drop points and everything looks completely different if that's the case. Right, now it's time for our bet builder with BetMGM. Remember, you can download the app or go to betmgm.co.uk. Right, I'm going to go first. And based on Eberechi Eze getting a hat-trick in the last time we faced it at the Emirates anyway, I'm going to go for over 3.5 total goals. And it would be great if Eze can get another hat-trick. I mean, that's if he plays. But, over 3.5 goals for me. Perry?
I'm with you with the goals. I'm going to go both teams to score, us to win the game, because I think it's going to be a real humdinger of a North London derby because of what's at stake, especially from their point of view as well. New manager coming in, and they've always got a threat. Dominic Solanke will probably play up front. They've got goals in them, but I think we'll edge it. It's a weird thing. Not one Arsenal fan is going, well, we win 2 or 3-0. Everybody's going by the odd goal, but I'll go both teams to score and us to win.
Yeah, and I think we'll be winning by half-time and winning at full-time. But I think we'll be one of those who might be 1-0 up at half-time. We nick a second half. Suddenly they really have to fight. They have to come out and play. They nick one, and what looked a comfortable position is pure stress for us Arsenal fans. But yeah, winning at half-time and winning at full-time.
It's quite easy, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not
complicated, is it?
It's always good to beat Spurs, but, to beat them on their own patch, I absolutely love it. A couple of seasons, it was more than a couple of seasons ago now. Do you remember the whole Ramsdale getting in an altercation with one of the fans and all that? I love it, and to beat them at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, I mean, amazing.
That's why all Arsenal fans don't want them to get relegated. You want them to be third from bottom last game of the season and having to win 2-0 to get themselves out of trouble and come fourth from bottom. But you want to play them every season. Yeah. It'd be funny if they got relegated.
I know what you mean. A league without North London derby. I feel right. Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed that we will be celebrating another win over Spurs. And I did see somewhere, I don't have the exact stats off the top of my head right now, but I did say that this could be the earliest St Tottenham's Day ever.
If we beat Wolves and we win against Tottenham. Although I can't remember if we had to beat Brentford.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
we might have had to beat Brentford.
Google it. Yeah. It's all out there. But the one of the earliest St Tottenham's Day ever. Right, that is all we have time for on today's show. Thank you to my guests Perry Groves and to James Bayliss. And this show, remember, is sponsored by BetMGM. Download the app or visit betmgm.co.uk. 18+, gambleaware.org. Please gamble responsibly. And come on, you Gunners!